Hey there, Nicholas from Growth Marketer here with another landing page teardown. For this one, we're going to be focusing on a SaaS product, and this is a scheduling software called Mazevo, and let's just jump right in, why don't we? So the first thing that I'm noticing here is that there's no call to action button above the fold, and if you've been following my videos or the podcast or some of the blog content on growthmarketer.co/blog, you'll know that one thing I talk about a lot is the importance of having a call to action somewhere above the fold. So when we say above the fold, we mean the portion of the page that people see without scrolling. So that would be this portion if we're on a desktop or laptop device. And then on mobile, which is really more important these days, in my opinion, it would be somewhere in this first screenful where you don't have to scroll down. So you want to have a call to action button, and it could be as simple as this button here, but you'd want it to be somewhere up here in what's called the hero section. So I think that's the number one thing that could be added to this page that would be a quick win, because as people come to the page, they're going to have some basic questions like, what is this page about? Can it help me? And how do I take action? Like, what's the next step? And you want to let people know. So I think that would be a quick win. So let's look at the copy. So it says, do you feel stuck with your room scheduling software? So the first thing that I'm thinking is, what do they mean by room scheduling? So if I'm coming to this page from a very targeted Google search and I've typed in room scheduling software, maybe conference room scheduling software, it makes sense. But if I don't have that context, it creates a little bit of friction as I try to figure out, well, what exactly do they mean by room scheduling software? So maybe there's an opportunity here to use dynamic text replacement to test out different headlines depending on the level of intent that the visitor has. Then we see these other questions here. And I'm all for using questions on a landing page, especially as a headline. But one thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't put 4 questions in a row, which is what's happening here. You have the main headline as a question, and then a sub headline question, another question, another question. And it feels like the page is just bombarding you with questions, and it's not really providing you with answers. So you want your landing page to balance out that question and answer context if that's something you're going to use. So if you are going to use questions, I think the takeaway here is don't overdo it like this. Just have one question in this section, and then the rest of it should be a response or something that answers that question for the visitor. So then let's scroll down. It says a modern and simple room scheduling system. To me, that feels a little wordy, feels a little corporate. Maybe that's what they're going for, but there's probably some other ways to say what it is. And really, this is another good point. Do you want to focus on the system, or do you want to focus on the outcome, right? So there's a difference between features and benefits, as you all probably know. And usually if you focus on benefits or outcomes, that's going to get a better response from the visitor, because that's what it's all about, right? You don't want the room scheduling system. You want what that system's going to do. It's going to free up your time. It's going to make your meetings run more effectively. It's going to prevent people from getting kicked out of the conference room or having a scheduling conflict, something like that. So maybe that would be a better headline here. Then we see this video player. First thing I'm noticing is it's sort of like an off-brand player, because usually you'll see like a Vimeo or Wistia or YouTube, but this is not a player that I'm recognizing right off the top. And I only mention that because sometimes I see these off-brand players that don't really load very well, or they have some type of issue buffering or something like that. And those little details actually matter quite significantly when we look at load time and user experience. And so if you are going to use a video player on the page, my personal choice is Wistia or Vimeo Pro, one of the paid Vimeo packages, because those are really solid products. So do keep in mind that the quality of the video player matters a lot on your landing pages. Let's take a look at this video. So I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I skimmed it earlier, and the one takeaway I got was this is a very long video, even though it's just 2 minutes and 11 seconds. But for a landing page like this, for a Google search, this is actually like a lifetime for people. So I would say if you are going to put a video like this, every second counts. So I would try to keep it under a minute. 30 seconds to a minute, I think, is the sweet spot. And it doesn't have to go through every feature. It just has to hit on the main points of the page, right? So what is this about? How is it going to help you? How can you get it? And it should end with a really strong call to action. Then as we scroll down, we see the very first call to actions. Now we know what they want us to do. Let's click on that real quick and see what happens. So now we're going to a different page. And you see how you get sort of a different sense of this page because it's darker, it's a different color palette. To me, it just feels like a completely different experience. It's got this sticky header that was not on the first page. So to me, there's a lack of congruency between the first page and the second page. So if you're going to use a multi-step approach like this, which is fine, you do want the designs to match because that's going to create more congruency and a higher level of affinity with the visitor. In terms of the form itself, yes, I want a demo, first name, last name, company name, phone number, email, comments. If any of these fields could be removed, that would be helpful to increase conversions. So maybe there's a way to combine first and last name. Do you really need company name at this point? Maybe not. Is there a way to maybe make the form a multi-step form so that instead of having all these fields all at once, you could just break it up over several steps? And then comments, these very generic fields tend to create a lot of friction and a lot of anxiety with visitors because they don't really know what to put in there, even if it's optional. So this is where putting in some placeholder text could be helpful, or saying, just leave this blank if you don't have any comments. That's fine too. Another thing I always recommend is putting some indication of what's going to happen when I fill out the form. So I want a demo, but is this going to be a live demo right now? Is it a pre-recorded demo? And is someone going to reach out to me? Let people know what's on the other side of that form. But let's go back because I really want to focus on the main page here. Complete facility scheduling. Yeah, see, this is where they're getting into some of the benefits. Prevent double bookings. Again, a lot of these though are features. So I would probably focus a little more on the benefits. And the other thing that I'm noticing that's missing here is a photo or photos of the actual product. And it's probably here in the video, but for the folks who can't watch the video or don't want to watch the video, you're not really getting a sense of what the software actually looks like. So for SaaS, you really want to show that dashboard, show the in-app experience as much as possible because that's the product and that's what people are most interested in. And then down here at the bottom, I don't really like the contrast here. It's a little bit hard to read. I'm noticing there's no privacy policy down here, which could be a concern if you're running Google ads. You want to be compliant with all the rules and the policies, and having a privacy policy is an important part of that. And then here, this is another thing I see happen all the time. It says free guide to switching scheduling software. So now what you have going on is you have a completely secondary offer, which is not nearly as important as the book a demo, right? Because book a demo, that's the main thing that they want you to do. But now you have a secondary offer down here at the bottom of the page, and now they're competing for your attention. And it says enter your information below to download our free guide. It says submit. It doesn't tell me how I'm going to get it. It doesn't show me what the guide looks like. It just says name, email, submit. It feels very formal. And you notice how there's no other call to action for the request a demo. So if I was really interested in the demo and I came to this page, I might, scroll down real quick. I might miss this button here and I just fill this in, and then I'm just getting this guide, and maybe I'm going to look at another product that's going to give me instant access to an on-demand demo for the actual product that I'm interested in. So I would say it's probably best to remove this secondary call to action. There's nothing wrong with maybe putting this into a light box or pop-up and then having that pop-up at maybe a 10-second delay as a secondary conversion goal, but I wouldn't mix this call to action with the main get a demo call to action on the same page. The other things that are missing, which you probably know that I'm going to mention if you watched any of my previous audits is trust indicators or trust logos. There's really no type of trust seal on the page. So, what companies have you worked with? How many brands have you helped? How many years in business do you have? And the other thing, huge, is testimonials. You want to have some social proof on the page, and I don't see that here. So overall, it's not a badly designed page, but I do think it's missing some very crucial conversion elements, both on the desktop and on the mobile version. So that's going to do it for this landing page audit. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. And also, if you haven't already subscribed to my weekly newsletter, Growth Marketer Weekly, that is where I'm sharing my very best growth marketing news, tools, and insights every week in one short email, and it's absolutely free. And I think you'll get a lot of value out of it if you're getting value out of these videos. So that's going to do it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.